The whole concept of generics and, having a patent run out on an agent is, of course, old. And the idea being that, once a patent runs out and the company no longer owns the, single rights to a drug, that any company anywhere could make the same chemical, show that it's really, reasonably pure and it doesn't cause problems in animals, and then put it on a shelf and market it. And that can happen all over the world, and it's a huge market. But when biologics became a part of successful treatment for both rheumatologic diseases and cancer, then the whole concept came about how would we ever have a generic for a biologic? Because it's not a simple chemical, so you could never do anything that was a generic. So that's where the whole concept of biosimilars came up. And this Biologics Price Competition and Innovation Act sort of tried to address that with the idea that we have lots of innovative products. The patent life will expire on these drugs eventually, although that's a whole nother area of controversy about what defines the patent life. And when that patent life runs out, how will there ever be any competition unless people have a path to develop agents that are biosimilar, in other words, similar to a biologic agent. And so then that would result in competition and price lowering and more accessibility throughout the world. So this is really important. And so that was actually developed as a act and put into law that you could have these biologic similar agents and have competitive pricing, et cetera. And then a lot of organizations actually have entered in order to define what a biosimilar is. And that has included the US FDA, the European EMA, and the World Health Organization, who also have a great interest in these biosimilars because competition with pricing is really important in order to expand the accessibility of potentially life-saving agents around the world. So that's what really led to the act and sort of paved the way for the beginning of the field of biosimilars now some time ago.
Each active substance being developed is being issued so-called INN by the World Health Organization, which means an international non-proprietary name. And here we talk about biosimilars, where in 2015 the FDA has suggested a naming procedure where this INN, for example for filgrastim, is being followed by 4 letters, lowercase letters, which can be introduced or actually suggested by the manufacturer, and the FDA then chooses out of several suggestions the naming for this particular compound. This is an important issue with regard to safety of the patients and pharmacovigilance, that it is possible, for example, if a patient experiences side effects during the course of treatment, that it is possible to actually know what kind of compound this particular patient has received, and the physicians have to actually monitor the therapy, and then if such adverse events should occur, actually give them to the regulatory agencies, that it is possible to see after marketing of the product whether there are any safety issues. And in this regard, this unique naming helps a lot. For example, with filgrastim produced by Sandoz, it was SNDZ, which I suppose is with regard to the producer of the drug, and that was chosen, but there is not necessarily a meaning out of these 4 letters.